welcome to the Fantasy Madness podcast with me, your host, the Mad Chatter, Ryan MK. That's right, thank you for joining me, much appreciated. Make sure you're following at RMK Madness on the Twitters, on the Grams. Make sure you check out the Tubes versions too, the video version. Maybe some of you are watching right now. That's right, maybe. So check it out, please do. And if you're into, my thoughts on just random shit, political stuff. I'm not even that much of a political person, so it's really not even that political. It just got a little political as of recent. Well, obviously. So, yeah, but I like to talk about lots of different stuff. Other sports, UFOs, TV shows. That shit rhymed. I like just get into whatever floats my boat for that particular episode. You can check that out anywhere you find this. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. Biden was officially named the projected winner of the election, which is fantastic. And again, Miscellaneous Debris is the name of the podcast, and you can check that out. Did I even say the name of it when I was describing it just previously? Maybe not. This is how I roll. This is how things work. How it goes sometimes here on Fantasy Madness or on the Miscellaneous Debris podcast. Either way. So it's great to see that we're going to have a new president. It's also a little worrisome that there's still like 2.5 months left of Trump, and he won't shut up about the election being fake and a fraud and all of that. And it does seem like his support is dwindling, though. It does seem like that. But you got to wonder, what the hell is it? He's got to focus and get some shit done. He has been doing some shit. See, I won't get too into it. You can hear my thoughts on my other pod. But I will say this. I did see something on Twitter, which I thought was a good way of putting it. And I went back to try and find it because I really am trying to get better at giving people credit, especially when I find something amusing on Twitter or other social media. But really, Twitter's where I hang out the most. And so I want to give people credit, but I must not have liked the tweet or something because I could not find it anywhere. But anyway, props to whoever came up with this, but it was something along the lines of, this feels like a horror movie, and the monster was killed, but there's still 20 minutes left in the movie. That's a pretty good fucking analogy, if you ask me. Now, not to get all dark and gloomy, because we should, those of us on this side of the fence, we should be happy. But we also got to be real. There's still some time left. There's still 20 minutes left in this monster movie. You know. But thankfully, there's plenty of football to chat about. Gives us a break from all the politics and all the crazy stuff that's been going on. And as I've said, it's going to be a long couple of months, particularly because one thing that's not likely to get any better, at least immediately, is the pandemic. And we'll see how much it affects the foosball along the way. But at this moment, we're still getting football, and that's a great thing. I'm enjoying it. And hey, that's what we're all here for, right? So let's go ahead and get right into the Week 9 madness. What the fuck? Whew. And madness it was. Madness it was in many ways, really. So let's go ahead and get right into it, beginning with, of course, the early games. And you've got the Giants at the Foreskins the Washington football team, if you prefer. I prefer the Washington Foreskins for now. And 23-20, the Giants take this one. I got that one wrong, and I was a little surprised. I mean, it's an ugly game, like I figured, and there's a great play where there's a fumble, and about 100 players miss trying to pick this ball up, and it just keeps flopping around on the field, and players keep flopping around. And it's a great analogy. Again, someone put on Twitter that I can't seem to, give people their due credit for the shit. I'm terrible at it. But great, posting this play on Twitter and then saying, this is great. This is the NFC East. Because it is just a bunch of fumbling around. And Kyle Allen gets hurt, which you never want to see that. And I haven't seen the play. Heard it was a little ugly. I really don't care to see that shit. I talk about this a lot. Like, I remember, teens, early 20s, you watch a football game, someone gets a big hit, you're like, wow, you see that? Look at that fucking hit right there. Nowadays, I see it and I'm like, oh, god damn it, I hope his brain's okay. It's weird. Maybe that's the maturing, or maybe that's just, a lot of us understanding what football, more and more, because even the football players themselves have begun to understand more and more what football does to their bodies. So it's just a bit of an awareness thing, I guess. But yes, it's definitely, yeah. I don't get so much pleasure out of seeing those guys get smashed. No, it kind of gives me, the hands over the mouth thing, like, oh my goodness. Anyway, sorry. T-Mac had a solid game, 7 for 115 and 1, as did Cam Sims. He had 3 catches for 110 yards. Antonio Gibson was kind of blah, but he got a touchdown. Giants wide receivers, they were kind of nowhere to be found. But Evan Engram had 5 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. Still, another game where he catches half his targets. And there you go. That's the 50% Engram. You start calling him that. Moving on to the next game. Chicago at Tennessee. Chicago, 17 points. Tennessee, 24. Hey, Tennessee did bounce back, just like I thought. I thought they'd do so a little more handily, but that's okay. The Bears' offense is just kind of blah. I mean, it's a shame. And poor A-Rob. I mean, 7 catches, 81 yards. I mean, imagine if this dude had an actual fucking quarterback. And I thought Foles would be a step up from Trubisky, and he's not been. He's not. For Tennessee side. Didn't get a whole lot from King Henry in this game, but A.J. Brown went for 101 yards and a touchdown off of 4 catches. Jonnu Smith had a couple of catches for a little over 30 yards and a touchdown himself. So there you go. Tennessee gets back to their winning ways, and we move on to the next game. Detroit at Minnesota. Hey, what did I say? I was reading some stuff on Twitter, and I heard what some people were saying. And there were a good amount thinking, hey, the Lions should go in there and tear out. And Marvin Jones is a fine replacement for Kenny Galladay. I just had to point out, like I did in the last pod, the differences with Kenny Galladay off the field. He is the engine that makes this offensive car run. Greg Rosenthal from the Around the NFL podcast. There, I'm finally giving credit because I specifically know his name. But he said he's kind of like Dalvin Cook is the Jenga piece for the Vikings offense. He's what makes it go. Kenny Galladay is the same thing. They're in trouble when they don't have him, and it's apparent. And it happened again today. Yesterday. Okay, you caught me. It's Sunday night. I'm recording this. But you'll get this on Monday. But it happened again. I mean, TJ Hawkinson, he saved his day with a touchdown, but Swift got a little bit of action. Marvin got a touchdown, but nothing really else. They're just not the same. And on the Minnesota side, speaking of that Jenga piece for that offense, Dalvin Cook, he had quite the day. 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a couple of catches for 46 yards. Justin Jefferson had a few catches for 64 yards, but other than that, the passing game really wasn't. It was pretty much Dalvin Cook. Amir Abdullah out of nowhere caught a pass for a touchdown, but yeah, I know, weird. But Minnesota takes that one. Minnesota takes that one. They're getting into some winning ways themselves. Interesting. Moving on. Carolina at Kansas City. I thought Carolina would struggle in this game, and holy shit, this was one of the more fun games of the day, right? Carolina 31, Kansas City 33. And I like being wrong a lot of times. Maybe not a lot of times, sometimes. This is a case where I enjoy. Okay, I don't like to be wrong. But there's times I don't mind. This would be one of them because it made for a hell of a game. Carolina fought hard, man. They really did. CMC is back in full force, 69 yards and a touchdown, along with 10 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel had 9 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. They were just, Teddy was playing good today, man. He's playing good. And he had that one play where he fucking flew through the air like Superman to get the first down. Like you're thinking he's got to slide, do something. No, he fucking leapt for it. Whew. Good stuff. Good stuff by Carolina. They didn't win, but come next year, man. Come and woman, peeps, my mad caps. Come next season, I do believe Carolina could be a bit of a force. Could be a bit of a force. And, of course, the Chiefs did their thing. Patty Mahomes, 4 TDs. Kelsey, 10 catches, 159 yards. Tyreek Hill, 9 for 113 and 2 touchdowns. And, there you go. Patty spread around the ball a little bit, but big game for Tyreek Hill. And they take the W. Next, we have Houston at Jacksonville. Hey, Houston did win, but Jacksonville, well, fuck, they kept it close. They damn near pulled it off. Luton played okay. James Robinson, 1 yard shy of 100 and a touchdown. DJ Chark sighting. And I think it was a couple weeks back, talked about him. And, hey, here you go. Now, maybe it's just a Luton thing. We'll see. And we'll see how long Luton plays and if they bring Gardner Minshew back. But he wasn't anything special. Luton. Is it Luton? Luton? Nothing special. But he did okay. And he got Chark involved. Chark, 7 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. This is fantastic. And unfortunately, in the game, Laviska Shenault did get hurt. And you don't want to see that because that's a little bit of a thing with him. He's got some injuries in the past. So you worry about that. But hopefully he'll be okay. Good young receiver. And you just got to think about, man, if they get a quarterback, you got Chark, you got Laviska Shenault. I mean, we'll see if they hang on to James Robinson, but you got to like James Robinson, right? They got some weapons on this team, huh? So, be interesting to see. This is all, and it's funny, because you got to wonder, is Trevor Lawrence really? Because there's going to be some teams that need a quarterback in that sweepstakes, if you know what I mean. We'll see if he's really worth it, because I do think there's going to be some other good quarterbacks as well. Anyway. Luton. Oh, goodness. And for the Texans, Will Fuller, yes, indeed. He went 5 for 100 and a touchdown. Brandon Cooks had 3 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. David Johnson had to leave the game. Concussion. Duke took over. Not one of the better performances. He got some yards and whatnot, but he did get a touchdown. So you have to wonder, is DJ going to be good to go next game? We'll have to see, because I would like to see a game where they give Duke Johnson a good-sized workload. People have been wanting that for a very long time. Just give it to him. Apologies. That fucking yawn crept in on me. That was a weird yawn, and it crept in on me. Anyway, we continue. Food and sleep. That's what I need. That's it. That's what I. That's always my excuse. I'm not getting enough food or sleep. And then recently it was the election stuff. That was a little bit draining. Oh, but anyway, should David Johnson miss, I'm going to be very intrigued by the possibility of a good workload for Mr. Duke Johnson. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Next. Yes, the Ravens at the Colts. Now, nothing about this game was really super impressive. The Baltimore defense made some plays, but the offense was pretty blah. I mean, not much for a rushing attack, although Lamar had a touchdown and Gus Edwards got a touchdown. And I mean, the Indianapolis, their run game struggled. Taylor got the TD. He got the fumble as well. Then Wilkins got a bunch of carries. Although you did see Michael Pittman. He led in yardage on the team, second in targets on the team. So, I mean, with 7 targets. And he caught 4 of them for 56 yards. That's a good sign, I think. They're going to start getting him involved. And I was ready, to have a bit of a dance party for Michael Pittman. And I guess we can't quite go there, right? We can't get all excited. I shouldn't say dance party. That's the other person. Shouldn't use Podfather's word. I said it because I used it in my article, which, by the way, wait till we get to the game. We're almost there. If you read my article, The Infirmary, you'll have known a couple of things. But I was more referencing the dance party to that because I mentioned the dance party and that. But this is what I was saying. I'm ready for some Michael Pittman action. Now, it didn't exactly happen, but you can see by what he did today that there's a good chance going forward he could be quite productive. Quite productive. But all around, just kind of an ugly fucking game. So let's get to the next one, which was actually a lot of fun. The Bills and the Seahawks. Seattle 34, Buffalo 44. And really, for a lot of the game, it wasn't even that close. Because the Bills came out just, whew, yeesh, I was wrong on this one like a motherfucker. Seattle struck. Hey, the Bills D showed up. And oh, did they show up. They kind of manhandled the Seahawks for a while. The Seahawks couldn't do anything. And then, of course, Russ, in his magic, he finds a way to get back into the game. But it was never enough. It was never enough in this game. The Bills just took it to him. Diggs went 9 for 118 yards. John Brown, 8 for 99. The Rook, Gabriel Davis, 4 for 70 and a touchdown. And then Moss got a touchdown, but they really didn't do a whole lot on the ground. Allen was just he went over 400 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. Allen was on his game today. And, in the comeback, Russ, he made some noise, got some touchdowns. DK went for 708 yards and a TD. DJ Moore, 71 yards and a TD. So, DJ Dallas himself got, did I say DJ Moore? David Moore. Not DJ Moore, David Moore. DJ Dallas, there we go, there's the right DJ. He got a TD but didn't do a whole lot on the ground, so it was a very weird game for the Seahawks. I figured they'd be able to do more, but hey, Buffalo's D also seemed like they came to play today, so what a hell of a game. And we move on to the game that I was mentioning previously. If you had read my infirmary article, you would have surmised that Olamide Zaccheaus, I'm not entirely sure how to say his first name, but Zaccheaus would be a solid play today. And he was. 4 for 103 yards, 4 catches, I should say, and a touchdown. Julio Jones was solid, 54 yards and a TD. Gurley got a TD, and really, this game was never in too much doubt until the very end because Drew Lock did not play well yet again through the whole fucking majority of the game till the end, and then he turned it on a little bit. He's just not consistent. You got to be concerned with Drew Lock. And I've heard some talk about, is he in the right system, in Shermer's system? Maybe, maybe not. Because it just feels like there should be, because he is aggressive. I don't know. There's something weird about it, but it is concerning. Jerry Jeudy, however, did get 7 catches for 125 yards and a TD. KJ Hamler, 6 catches, 75 yards. Hey, the 2 guys I thought would have a good game. Noah Fant struggled. I thought he might have a good game too, but he also got banged up and exited the game for a little bit, and then he came back in, so we'll have to keep an eye on him now, won't we? Yes, yes, yes. So the Falcons win. They damn near blow it in the end again, but they didn't. They didn't. They get the win. So moving on to the next. Oh, and we hit the afternoon games. And you got the Raiders of Las Vegas traveling to LA to face the Chargers. The Raiders take this one 31-26, and the Chargers lose another fucking close one. They have got to be tired. And Derek Carr looked okay. They didn't have a lot going on in the passing game, but the run game was extremely blah 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 blah. Hey, we got this far without my first major vocal flub up. That was my first major one. So hey, there we go. There we go. Trying to give myself a little credit for getting this far, even though I shouldn't be doing it anyway. But anyway, Josh Jacobs, he had 14 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. But then you look at Devontae Booker, who had 68 yards and a touchdown on just 8 carries. So much more efficient, Devontae Booker. And Aguilar and Darren Waller got a TD apiece, but there just wasn't a lot going on in the air for the Raiders. And then the Chargers, Keenan Allen went 9 for 103 yards and a touchdown. Mike Williams had a decent game. And then you got Kalen Ballage, 69 yards and a touchdown. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, that's right. Justin Jackson. Apparently he got injured right before the game. Something. He didn't play. Oh, man, it hurt me. It hurt me in a couple of leagues. But hey, shit happens, right? You're not going to get mad at the player. He can't do anything. You think he wanted to get injured? But that was a bummer. And then Kalen Ballage? Not even Joshua Kelly the Rook. No. Kalen Ballage. Interesting there. Interesting choice, Anthony Lynn. You just keep losing these close games. You're not going to be around much longer, dude, which sucks. Because I think you're cool shit. You seem like a nice guy. And you're a black dude. And we need more black dude coaches. So I don't want him to get fired. But he can't keep doing this shit. They just keep losing these kinds of... He even said himself, this happened we got kicked in the gut 6 times. That's 6 times too many. Yeah, I'd say so. Next game. Miami at Arizona. This one surprised me. I did have Arizona winning the game, but I also thought Miami and Tua in particular would play well. And I just didn't think it would be enough to beat the Cardinals, and it was. Tua went for 248 yards, 2 TDs. And then Salvin Ahmed, he was the leading rusher on the day, but it's still not a whole lot going on in the ground game. Preston Williams, 4 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. That's nice to see. And so it was great seeing this from the Dolphins. And you got to be happy. Tua, did a lot more in this game. And so you got to feel pretty good if you're a Fins fan. And hey, if you're a Cardinals fan, you lost, but shit. Shit do you have? Kyler Murray. If there's ever any doubt. Look at this. 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 106 rushing yards and another touchdown. Whoo-wee. And he probably took a chunk of the rushing attack because Chase Edmonds disappointed than a mother. Whoo. Yeah. A lot of us are hurting for playing Chase Edmonds, but that's okay. Christian Kirk, though, I suggested he would have a good game, and he went 5 for 123 and 1. Yes. Captain Kirk. Next game, Captain. And we got Pittsburgh at Dallas. Now, this game, I gotta say, it had me wondering for a minute, is this Big Ben road stuff true? But hey, at the end of the day, you gotta look at, yes, they probably should have beaten the shit out of this Dallas team. But Dallas, they're gonna stay resilient. They're gonna keep, they don't want to keep losing either. Although you got to wonder where this team's at mentally and with how they feel about their coaches and all that shit at this point. But Big Ben also injured in the game, came back and played well. Played well. Threw a few touchdowns. Juju, 6 for 93 and 1. Deontay Johnson had 6 catches for 77 yards. And then Eric Ebron and James Washington, a touchdown apiece. But he played well. And considering he wasn't getting much on the ground game, James Conner did hardly anything. So, I would say good performance. But it is kind of weird that, you know, this Pittsburgh offense seems to be able to put up points, and it's kind of like, what? You should have been able to. Most teams are putting up points against this Dallas defense, but, you know, they got to get up to play too. So. Not going to harp too much on the Steelers. I just thought they'd do a little more of a beatdown today. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And then if you look at the Dallas side, it's just things going right. Tony Pollard, more effective than Zeke again because he went 9 for 57. Zeke, meanwhile, went 51 yards off of fucking 18 touches. That's a huge Pollard had 6 more yards and half as many carries. That's fucking crazy. What the fuck, Zeke? I've only got him in a couple of leagues, but man, in the one, it's gonna be might be tough to trade him. We'll see. CeeDee Lamb, finally back on the board, 4 for 71 and a touchdown. It was good to see this fucking Gilbert character. I mean, it looked a little better than DiNucci. I guess I'll give him that. Moving on to Sunday Night Football. Yeah. So much for Big Game Bucks, right? That was the name of the last pod? Big Game Bucks. Oh, man. Did I get Big Game Saints, I guess. Big Game Brees? Big Game Brees? Should I say? Maybe that's what I'll call this one. Big Game Brees. Just to, you know, coincide, to poke fun at myself, because I like to do that. But Big Game Breeze, maybe we'll go with that. I was considering calling it Circle the Wagons with the whole Bills thing, but then I didn't even bring that shit up during the Bills game. So now I think we're going to have to go Big Game Breeze. I think that's what we're going to have to do. So, 38-3. The Bucks just got smoked. Antonio Brown's debut. He had a few catches. Evans was the only one who went over 50 yards. Brady only had 200 yards. And you look at the Saints, and Brees really, he only had 222 yards, but he had 4 touchdowns, 12 different players caught passes. You had Alvin Kamara, he was doing his thing, not as much as usual. He was only okay, but fantasy perspective. But it's just, it's crazy. But 222 yards, 4 touchdowns. The Saints defense was playing good. Brady, 3 fucking picks. Like, it was a rough game for the Bucks after everybody, including me, was bragging about. Oh, shiitake. Shiitake mushrooms. So I guess, yeah, we just end up calling this one Big Game Breeze.
May I please have your attention? The store will be closing in 5 minutes.
That is right. It's about that time. About time to close up shop. But before we go, a little Monday Night Football prognosis. That's right, a little Monday Night Football prognosis. Listen, I do believe this will probably be a little bit more of a yuck game. You know, another kind of yucky game, ugly game. But I think the Pats are going to take this, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a bounce back for Cam. And I think you could see Jacoby Myers have another solid game. We'll have to see what happens at the running back position because Damian Harris, questionable, is a little banged up. And you got Sony Michel coming back off of IR. So we'll have to see exactly what happens with that situation and the running backs. But I would say if Damian Harris plays, I would say he gets the bulk of the work. Okay? That's what I'm feeling. If he doesn't play, I'm just not going to touch any of them. That's what. But if Damian Harris plays, I think I'm rolling with Damian Harris. Faux show. But you're probably not even in that position because it's not like he's been that special, Damian Harris, that you need to make sure if he plays Monday that he's in your lineup. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's asking a lot to wait till Monday night because then you got to have a backup plan. So, hopefully he suits up because I think he could have a solid game. The Jets D's been playing a little better. But they have no Sam Darnold. And I know he's not been great or anything like that, but again, in comes Joe Flacco. I just poor Denzel Mims. He's got a Sam Darnold as his quarterback who's just lacking in confidence. Seeing ghosts. Poor bastard was drafted to play for the Jets and Adam Gase. And now you're going to give him Joe Flacco. Not much hope for that offense, if you ask me. Because Bill really, he really likes beating the Jets. And so he's going to have the defense ready to kind of tear them up. And I imagine the Patriots will have a decent game and will do enough to take the victory. That's what I'm thinking. Patriots 24, Jets 10. 24-10. That's right. And also I was going to say, again, it's good that we have football because all the other sports are gone and they're not going to be back for a couple of months. And yes, it's great that we now technically have our president-elect in place and we can kind of hopefully relax and feel at least some sense of comfort with all of that. And now we just got to kind of hunker down and get through the next few months because, the pandemic's still going, it's still raging. And we got colder weather coming, the holidays. Just got to make sure as many of us as possible are doing our part, right? Because we know not all of us are. Trumpers still out there doing their thing. We just got to keep that in mind. Just got to keep it all in mind. Do our part. But in the meantime, you do need those breaks for your mentals, right? And I found myself getting a little bit more back into video games. And I've never been a huge gamer, but I've always found enjoyment in playing them on occasion. And sometimes I'll really get into a game. The BioShock games, for example, the Batman games, I got really into those. And I'll tend to play those a little more than I normally would a game. But the most recent one, and I bring it up because, it's another form of taking a break from all the shit going on in this crazy-ass year of 2020. And so gaming is just another thing, right? And I was sitting around this weekend, and I was really just I had a very rough week, I would say, last week. And I just felt like kind of over the weekend, I was just kind of recuperating from it in a way. And I did a lot of hanging out with my young ones early Friday, early Saturday before work. And we did some board games, some Legos. And then, they sit and they like video games. So they'll sit and watch me play a little bit. And Did a little PUBG, if you know the game PUBG, which is a battle royale game. It's fun. But then there's another game I like. And this is a game I really, really have come to love and enjoy. And it doesn't seem to be very high in popularity. So I just throw it out there as a suggestion. It's called Hunt Showdown. And basically, it's almost like a Western, but they're zombies. And I know everybody's going to think they're Red Dead Redemption. No, I don't think you understand. This is completely different. First of all, it's very, I wouldn't say it's like a Western. It's just very that kind of timey, like the characters, the hunters that you use. That's kind of the garb, the dress. That's that's what they're looking like is from those kind of times. And you have those kinds of weapons, the pistols, 6-shooters, shotguns, things like that. Yes, I just did that. But it's really it's a blast. And you get into you can kind of play a match with other hunters and things like that. But then you get into the hunt match where you get a bounty. There's bounties you have to go after. And basically you get in this match and you have several things to worry about because you've got zombies everywhere. And you have your normal zombies just walking around and they hear you and they might come after you. But then you've got like an immolator, which is a zombie that's engulfed in flames, and he's crazy. You've got this other one called Armored. It's this big, it's a ugly looking thing, and he's hard to kill. There's just different kinds of special zombies, and then there's other hunters out there going after the bounties you are, and then you come to the bounties, which are bounties for monsters. And you've got the assassin, which is like this black figure that's made up of bugs, and like he'll come and attack you, and then he'll like disperse into his little bugs, and they'll crawl away, and then they'll go back into his form. It's crazy. And then you have the butcher, who's like a person with like a pig head, and then there's a giant spider. And so you have to fight these monsters one at a time. But you kill a monster, you get the bounty. But again, there's still other hunters out there. I mean, it's just fantastic. I really enjoy it. It's so much fun. So anyway, if you get a chance, I would say go ahead and check out Hunt Showdown. If you're into that sort of, online type of gaming with the first person shooter and all that stuff. Again, I'm not the hugest gamer. I just like certain games and I like to play. And this is a fun one. It's a fun one. So anyway, let's go ahead and close up shop. I hope that everyone fared well Sunday. And good luck to you tonight, right? I know. Some of you already know. I know it's really Sunday. Because it's not even midnight yet. Regardless, good luck. Good luck tonight, Monday night. Good luck. And hopefully you don't need anything to win, right? Hopefully you just got this in the bag. But if you need something, good luck. And I would also point out through all of this, if you do happen to get into it with any kind of Trumpers or anything like that, just remind them all the stuff they were saying 4 years ago, right? And tell them to, quit crying they lost, right? Oh, gosh. It's going to be an interesting end to 2020. Indeed. And also, make sure Tuesday to look out for my Mini Madness show. And yes, for sure, it will be there this Tuesday, 100% guaranteed. Mini Madness, we will discuss what happened on Monday Night Football, which might not be much of anything, to be honest. And we'll discuss that. And then we'll discuss injury stuff. And if there's any waiver chatter we can get into. So look for my Mini Madness on Tuesday. Yes. And until then, hey, I bid you all adieu. All of you madcaps, I bid you adieu. Much love to you all, as always. And stay safe, stay vigilant, stay mad. Because as you know, all the best of us are. That's right. Have a great week. We will chat again soon. Ta-ta for now. Laters.